In today's video, we are actually going to be walking through how to repair credit without software. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to be talking about some credit repair training. So make sure that you watch this entire video because now, if you guys have watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I have a ton of videos showing you how to use Credit Repair Cloud and how to automate the process. You can get a free 30-day trial, but oftentimes it's going to take way more than 30 days. After that, it is $179 a month for the software. So some people just don't simply have the budget to keep up, and that's fine. So there are other ways that you can repair your credit. And when I first started repairing my credit, I simply used Microsoft Word. You can also use Google Docs. Google Docs is very similar to Microsoft Word. That's a good way to stay organized is to, use your Google Drive, just create a document. So today we're just going to be using Microsoft Word. And of course, you can always download Microsoft, which is very inexpensive. You can get it from GoDaddy for, I think, like maybe $10 a month. It's very inexpensive. I use the GoDaddy Microsoft Office 365, so I have access to Microsoft Word. But nonetheless, what we're going to do is I've brought up a dispute letter, and this is a multi-purpose dispute letter. This is one of the letters that we have for sale in our letter library. So if you're interested in purchasing our letter library, you can click on the link below. A lot of the letters that we have are in a Google Drive, and you can easily just edit the information to fit your needs. You can put your information in there, or you can put your client's information in there and just do a save as and put it into a folder. Okay. You really want to stay organized when it comes to credit repair, and that's why software helps with the automation. But if it's just simply not in your budget, it's not in your budget. So we've logged into Smart Credit. What we're going to do is just going to look at the credit reports, go through the credit reports, and we're literally going to use our credit reports to copy and paste. Now, if you feel like, hey, I'm not that great with the computer, then you can always print out your credit reports. So when you are using Smart Credit, what you want to do is you want to go scroll down until you see 3B reports and scores. Now, you can also go here and you can go to 3B reports and scores. Now, if I enlarge my screen, I'll see the drop down menus here, 3B reports and scores. So there's multiple ways to get there, just whatever's going to work best for you. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this back. We're going to order an updated report. We're going to view our current 3B report. Now you'll get a fresh update from Smart Credit for all three of the credit bureaus side by side every 30 days. And the reason why I like to do it this way is because say you get credit monitoring with, say, Experian. Their credit reports are not side by side. So you're going to have to go to one tab for one bureau, another tab for another bureau, another tab for the third bureau. Versus Smart Credit, everything is side by side. So you can see exactly what is happening with each bureau, being TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax side by side. So there's no guessing, right? You just have to read through it and understand it. And here's the biggest thing that people don't understand. People don't read. It's very simple to read a credit report. Yes, they're intimidating. Of course they're intimidating, right? Anything that is new to us is going to be intimidating. When we first drove our first bike, I'm sure that was very intimidating when we got the training wheels off. But you have to dive into things, okay? And you have to read. And if you don't know what something means, Google is going to be your best friend, okay? You can always purchase my credit coaching sessions. You can go to the website, creditcoachnicolescott.com, and you can view some of our coaching sessions. I've left a link in the description so that way you can check out coaching if you need it. But for those that want to do it yourself, this is some great information for you to be able to fix your own credit on your own time, because no one's going to fix your credit better than you are. It's the reason why people pay to get their credit repaired is because they're not interested in fixing it, or they just don't have the time, right? Timing is a big factor. It does take a lot of time. So first things first, obviously, I always talk about this in all my videos. We want to make sure that the personal information is accurate. Now, in this credit report, you'll notice Equifax is not populating. And typically when this happens, it means that Equifax does not have the correct data for you on file, or maybe your Equifax account is locked. It can be one of two things. Typically when this happens, it just simply means that your address and your name don't match what Equifax has on file. So therefore, until you get that corrected with them or with Smart Credit, you are not going to be able to access your data. Now, the client did recently update their address. So what we would want to do is just make sure that the address in the account setting is accurate. Okay. And it looks like it is. So we'll go back to the credit reports, but that's one way to check. Other than that, we're just going to need to fax Equifax a letter stating the personal information is inaccurate and they're not able to gain the credit. So one thing that might be detouring Equifax from delivering the credit report is there is an actual unit number on here. So you want to make sure that everything is completely accurate when it comes to the credit bureau. So there is actually like a suite number that's located with this client's address, but it's not listed with the credit bureau. So we really want to make sure that we get a few things when we're updating the credit address. You want to make sure that if you are updating your personal information with TransUnion, Experian, or Equifax by mail, you send them a correct address, meaning proof of address. So any sort of utility bill that has your correct name and your correct address as you want it listed with credit bureaus. I recommend a photo ID that has the correct address. Some people don't have a photo ID. If you have a passport, that will do. And then also your social security card, because they're going to need to verify that you are who you say you are, especially because you're trying to correct some information. So it's imperative that you send those 3 items. Hopefully you have an updated photo ID. If you don't, I highly recommend that you go and get your address updated with the department, the DMV, because that is going to help you a lot when it comes to changing your address. And it's also going to kind of give the credit bureaus a notification that you updated it with them, because they're government, of course, and they provide personal information to third parties. So we'll get to that in just a little bit as far as third parties. And if you have not watched my video on third-party databases and third-party credit reporting companies, make sure to do that. I'll leave the link below so you can watch that video. But basically what we want to do is just get Equifax to update the information so the credit data will populate, because at this point I believe it's just due because there's too many names. There's too many addresses. So we want to make sure that we clean up all this customer's personal information and let them know, hey, I only have one name, one address, and this is my only name, this is my only address, and I demand that you remove any other information. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this information, or you can simply just type it into this letter, right? Now this is kind of like a validation of debts letter, which is mainly used for outstanding collections. But if you're doing any sort of personal information, you can just type something up, or you can get a personal information from our letter library. But I just gave you guys the verbiage on what to say. So we're going to go ahead and skip through this for right now, but that is definitely the first step that you want to do, is just update your name, one address, no previous addresses. If any of the employers are inaccurate, you want to go ahead and just let them know that, hey, this is inaccurate. I demand that you remove it, because by law you are only allowed to report accurate information. Okay. Now this client does have a late payment, And of course, late payments are going to be a negative factor when it comes to your credit report. So it's imperative that you guys understand to pay all of your credit accounts that report to the credit bureaus on time, even if it's just the minimum amount due. Okay. Because that's something that I simply don't have control over. No one has control over. And if you get late payments, your credit score can drop up to 100 points. I have literally seen it. So at this point, what we're going to be looking for are accounts that are listed as derogatory, okay? Collections, charge off, any sort of derogatory information. So here's our first account, right? That the account rating over here to the left-hand side says derogatory. So that's exactly what we're looking for here. And you'll see that it's a balance owed. Now, technically, if an account has been charged off, the account owed or the balance owed should be zero because they have legally charged it off as bad debt. And now it's a zero balance and they've probably sold it. Right here, it says account has been closed due to inactivity, unpaid balance reported as a loss by the credit grantor, which the credit grantor is Target/TD Bank. TD Bank is the underwriter or the credit company that works to provide people with Target cards. Okay, so what we want to do is add this account information. Now you'll notice that there's some X's and you might not have the full account number. That's fine. We're just going to copy the account information as we see it on our credit report. So we're going to go over to our letter here and we're going to type in Target, which is the name, /TD Bank, or you can type in whatever is listed on your credit report. And then account number, we're just going to type in the account number that is listed on the credit report. And it says, I have no knowledge of this account, fix and delete for inaccurate reporting. It's as simple as that. You don't have to go into super detail. This letter does have some general laws when it comes to the USC codes. So this is, again, it's a multi-purpose letter to dispute any sort of collections and or charge-offs. Okay. So now we've just added that account to this letter and we'll fix the formatting once we get everything in there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look for some more accounts that are similar to that. Okay. Here's another one that's listed as derogatory. So we're just going to copy the account name and we're just going to type in the account number. And we're just going to copy the account number from the credit report. And again, if you aren't, comfortable doing it on the computer, use the same concept. Print, write. You can hand write a letter. You can do it however, is going to be most efficient for you because there's no one way to do something like this. And sometimes, when you copy and paste, the formatting is going to be off. So I always recommend right click, paste special, and you want to paste it as unformatted text. Okay. And then I'm going to do that same thing with here. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to right click, paste special, and we want to do unformatted text. So that way it won't copy the formatting because we don't need them to format it. Okay. And then what we can do is just copy the same verbiage up here. Okay. It's the same thing, same concept for any sort of derogatory, collection, charge off. Okay. And this letter will cover all of those things. And if you wanted to get our FCRA ebook, which covers a lot of the law, you can actually purchase our FCRA book. I put the link in the description below, but you can also, this letter, you can click on the FTC. Okay. So it's now going to be connecting you to the FTC, which is this is actually the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Okay. So this is part of the law and there's a few different laws. There's the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. But there's also the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Okay. So you just want to make sure that you understand the codes that you're using. And this is directly from the government's website. So it is, good information, just so you guys can verify it for yourself, because don't take my word for it. Don't take any other expert's word for it. You need to verify this information online, and, just be mindful of what you're doing. Okay. That's all that I really have to say about that. All right. So on to the next. We won't worry about late payments right now. However, when I'm looking at some of the accounts, some of the account ratings are open, some of them list as derogatory. So what we are going to do is we're going to list this account on our report, on our dispute letter here. Okay, so we're going to pay special, unformatted. We're going to take the account number directly from the credit report. We can just put account number, pay special, unformatted, and then copy this. Okay, there we go. Any more derogatory accounts, you want to just use the same concept. Okay, so we're going to add in the next one and just copy the account number just like you see it on the credit report. Exactly. Okay, if you write it down, write the little stars along with it, because that's exactly how they have it listed on your credit report. And you don't need to give them the full account number, because that's the account identification information that's listed from the credit bureaus. So again, the basic concept is to add anything derogatory, collection, charge off, anything that has those words associated. You want to go ahead and add them to your dispute letter. And this dispute letter is just going to be going to the credit bureaus, but you also want to send a dispute to the creditor that is reporting it to the credit bureaus. By law, all creditors that are reporting information to the credit bureaus must be listed on your credit report, so that way you can contact them. And with Smart Credit, it's actually on there, and we'll get to where they're at in just a second. Okay, so same concept. We're just going to copy this exact verbiage because it's all the same essentially. Okay, now if you scroll down, you can also use the same concept for inquiries, but we're not going to add inquiries. Inquiries are kind of a separate letter that I like to use, and if you guys have my letter library, you'll see that we have several inquiry letters. Here's all the creditor contacts. So any creditor that you're going to be sending a dispute to the credit bureaus, you want to go ahead and do a dispute letter to them as well. And you can pretty much use the same information that we have on this letter and use this to both credit bureau and creditor, because it says the same thing essentially, and we want them to correct the information. So this is it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have not already, make sure that you have subscribed to my channel, Credit Coach Nicole Scott, and follow me on Instagram at Credit Coach Nicole Scott. We just got monetized on YouTube and Instagram, so the more that you guys support our channel by watching our videos, we are actually getting paid for it. So make sure to leave me a comment, like the video, give us some feedback. And again, guys, make sure to watch the entire credit repair playlist coming up next. Take care.